Today, I am testing 3 popular banana bread recipes. All right, let's dive into recipe 1. Start with flour, the good all-purpose kind. Carefully sift it into a bowl to saturate it with oxygen. Add a teaspoon of baking soda, the secret to fluff. And now let's add just a dash of salt. Take a whisk and slowly mix our ingredients so that everything is evenly distributed. Great! Now we can move on to the next stage. Set the dry ingredients aside. Let's move on to eggs. For this recipe, we will need 2 whole eggs and 1 egg yolk. Next, crack 2 eggs into a separate bowl. Make sure there is nothing crunchy in this recipe. Carefully separate the yolk from the white. Do this slowly and you will be successful. We don't need the egg white. Whisk well so the yolks and whites are fully blended. And we'll put that aside for now as well. Take the bananas. They should be nice and ripe. Honestly, the blacker the better. The recipe specifies the amount in grams, which is about 4 bananas. I use less in the shot, but add more behind the scenes to match the weight specified in the recipe. Cutting the bananas into small pieces is optional. Just make sure to mash them into a nice, squishy banana mush. If you don't have a fancy puree masher, a fork will do the trick. Now grab those eggs and mix them in with the mashed bananas. By the way, if you could leave a comment and let me know which country you're watching from, that would be great. It really helps the channel grow. Next, take some butter. It's best to have the butter soft and cut into small pieces. It makes it much easier to work with. Add brown sugar to it. Using a mixer, beat the butter and brown sugar until smooth and creamy. If you don't have a mixer, you can use a regular silicone spatula. This is what you should have after beating. Pour the banana egg mixture into the bowl with the butter and sugar. Give it a good stir until the butter is completely melted and everything is nicely combined. Now, just mix this mixture with the dry ingredients we prepared earlier. In this recipe, it is recommended to not mix the batter for too long to prevent dry bread. Just mixing all the ingredients evenly is enough. Now prepare our baking pan. Line it with parchment paper and leave long edges on the sides so that it is easy to remove the cake later. Transfer all the batter into the pan, making sure to leave enough space at the top for the cake to rise. Spread the batter evenly throughout the pan. Before baking, cut 1 banana in half lengthwise and place it on top of the batter. This will give a very attractive result after baking. Place the cake in an oven preheated to 175 degrees Celsius, set to top and bottom heat, for about 70 minutes, depending on your oven. Remove the finished cake. Lift the cake by the edges of the parchment paper, transfer it to a wire rack, and leave it to cool. Let's move to the second recipe is even simpler and quicker. Pour in the melted butter. Add white sugar to it. Mix them with a whisk until smooth. No mixer is needed here. Crack 2 eggs into the mix of butter and sugar. Then stir everything together with a whisk or spatula until it's perfectly smooth and irresistibly creamy. Take about 4 bananas. The exact amount will be specified in grams below the video. If you want to simplify the recipe and have the opportunity to do so, use a food processor. I'll start mashing the bananas with a fork so that there are still pieces in the cake for texture. Pour in our banana puree. Now let's chop up some of the bananas in a blender. Great! Now let's add this puree to the other ingredients. All 3 recipes are super quick to prepare. You'll spend no more than 10 minutes mixing everything together before it's ready to go in the oven. Prepare the dry ingredients, the flour. Now let's add a little salt. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Using a whisk or spatula, gently mix the flour, baking soda, and salt together. Now add the dry ingredients to the banana mixture and mix well. Just enough to make it smooth and combined. But don't overdo it. I can't claim it's the most delicious recipe, but it's definitely the fastest. To save time, I use the same pan and the same parchment paper. This will not affect the result. Bake in the oven at 175 degrees for about 70 minutes. Prepare the third option. For this, you will need 3 bananas. Peel them and place them in a bowl. This time, we won't slice the bananas right away. We'll start by mashing them with a fork. I've heard it makes the recipe much tastier. Combine melted butter and white sugar. If this feels familiar, you're right. It's a lot like the second recipe, just with a few extra ingredients and a little twist on the proportions. Add 2 eggs to the mix. Using room temperature eggs, they mix better and make everything fluffier. Slowly stir everything until it's smooth. Here's what we got. Perfect. Next up is a step you know well. Take the flour. 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Take a whisk or spatula and mix our dry ingredients. Now add our dry ingredients to the egg and butter mixture. I'm sticking to the original recipe's order, but I think it might be easier to mix the bananas with the egg and butter first. And now for the final touch. Add the bananas, some walnuts, and 1/2 cup of sour cream. I've tried it with Greek yogurt. Works nicely too. Now let's thoroughly mix our future banana cake until smooth. By this point, the second cake is ready. Remove it from the oven, take it out of the pan using the parchment paper, and place it on a wire rack. Transfer the batter for the third cake to the same pan, remembering to leave a little space for the cake to rise. And bake it in the oven at 175 degrees for the same amount of time. Take out the third cake. Look how golden and brown it is. Remove it from the pan and leave it to cool. Now you can see all 3 cakes together. All right, let's start the tasting. This is the first cake where we used brown sugar. It turned out dense and moist with a well-balanced flavor. Overall, it's a solid recipe and definitely worth a try. Let's move on to the second recipe. This is the simplest and quickest recipe. The cake turned out a little shorter, but that doesn't affect its taste at all. If you are in a hurry, feel free to choose this option. Finally, the third recipe, with sour cream and walnuts. And in my opinion, it's a definite winner. The cake has a soft, moist texture and a slightly crispy crust that contrasts beautifully with the tender interior. Each bite has a rich, aromatic flavor and a lovely banana hint. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time.